Shalom, and here is a thought for the week. This coming Shabbat is a very special, unknown, or less known holiday in the Jewish tradition. It's the 15th of the month of Menachem Av. It's actually a day that the women of Jerusalem would go out into the vineyards and would look to find husbands. So it's a great time for people to meet their destined spouse, their soulmate at this time of the year, following the 3 weeks that we were mourning the destruction of the temple when weddings weren't allowed. At this time, weddings are encouraged, and it's a happy time in the Jewish tradition to celebrate weddings. But another special thing about it is that this is the day that is considered like Yom Kippur. It says that there were no greater holidays to the Jewish people than Yom Kippur and the 15th of Menachem Av. What's so unique? One of the explanations, according to Kabbalah and Hasidic teachings, is you ever notice that the Jewish calendar is based on the moon? It's a lunar calendar. And unlike the sun, that's a constant, the moon waxes and wanes. In the beginning of the Jewish month, it disappears right before the beginning of the month, and then it reappears, and that's the first of the month. And then for the next 15 days, it gets bigger and bigger. Finally, on the 15th of the Hebrew month, it's a full moon. The way it works with ascents and descents, that the lower one falls, the higher is the ascent. The greater the descent, the greater is the ascent. The lowest descent for the Jewish people in the whole calendar year is Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of Av, when we mourn the destruction of the first temple, the second temple. It's the day that the Jews were expelled from Spain, 1492. It's also the day that, according to many, in the Hebrew of the month, that World War I started, that led to World War II. So it's a day of many calamities that befell the Jewish people. So the descent was great. Then comes the full moon that follows that represents the ascent that follows the descent. So it's the greatest ascent, the full moon that follows the descent of Tisha B'Av, the fast day of the 9th of Av. The lesson for all of us is, sometimes in life we feel like we hit rock bottom. We fell so low. Don't feel dejected. Don't feel down. Remember that the lower one fell, the higher we can propel ourselves. And the same thing when we see ourselves surrounded by darkness, whether it's something happening in the family, God forbid, or in the world globally, it seems like difficult times. We should remember that the ascent that will follow will be the greatest ascent. We're all waiting for the great ascent, called the coming of Mashiach and world peace, that follows thousands of years of the Jews in exile, nearly 2,000 years, 1,953 years ago when the temple was destroyed. And we're waiting very soon to usher in the third temple and the global peace and the great ascent represented by the 15th of the month of Menachem Av. And it's also a moment that in Jewish tradition, it says that the nights start getting longer and the days start getting shorter. It's 6 weeks to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, this Shabbat. So it's a time to start thinking about the high holidays. It's also a time we have longer nights that we could spend in study of Torah. And it says one that will study Torah at night will be given longer days, more years to their life. So wishing you all to be inscribed and sealed for a wonderful, sweet new year. And may we experience Mashiach now. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Remember, it's 7:46 to light the candles for Shabbat.